Hi everybody, in today's video we're going to talk about one of the most important metrics every single Amazon bookseller should be tracking each and every single week. That is your weekly inventory turnover rate. Whether you're brand new to selling on Amazon or you're an experienced seller, this is definitely something that's going to boost your business. It's going to help you better understand your inventory, your actual sales and what's going on, and I'll give you a hint. This ain't it. And lastly, it's really going to help you better understand the profit potential, how much money you can make in this business. I've been tracking this metric within our own book flipping business for over 6 years now, each and every week. And the reason I've been so consistent is that it's actually very, very simple and takes hardly any time. And I mean like 2 or 3 minutes a week. And the great thing is, as soon as you're done watching this video, I'm going to give you the information and you can start doing this immediately. This is Victor from Master Book Flippers, where we specialize in helping Amazon sellers with online arbitrage. With our state-of-the-art software, we've got you covered from fast and easy sourcing to inventory management to listing and shipping and a whole lot more. Here's what we're going to go over in today's video. Number one, what is the weekly inventory turnover rate? Number two, why you should track it. Number three, how you can track it. Number four, I've got 4 tips for you on how you can improve your rate. So what is the weekly inventory turnover rate? Think of the weekly inventory rate as a speedometer for our sales. Just as a speedometer, it shows us how fast a car is going. This metric's going to show you at what speed your inventory is selling each week. Now, in business, you may have heard the term inventory turnover ratio, and that's something that includes the cost of goods sold and is done on a yearly basis, and that is different from what we are discussing here. So, for example, if you start your week with 100 active books for sale on Amazon, and in that week you sell 10 of those books, you simply divide the 100 books by 10 and you come up with 10%. We sold 10% of all of our inventory that we had available for customer purchase. 10% of it was ordered during that week. And generally speaking, the higher the better. And I'll talk about a little bit more about that at the end of what we think it should be. All right, why should you track this? Okay, well, first of all, you may have heard, if you can't measure it, you can't control it. And this is something you definitely want to be paying attention to, okay? I often get the question, well, how much money can I make in this business? And there's all kinds of variables like a triangle. Number one, how much inventory do you have available for sale, right? How many of them are going to sell in a week, or what's the approximate rate, right? That's why we want the inventory turnover rate. And then you want to know, what is my average profit? And you can make an estimate. So those 3 things come into play and we'll tell you, all right? So that plays a big part of it. The other thing you want to do is we want to track your inventory rate over time. We want to, this is what you want to do. You want to look at the numbers. We've got charts on our tool that I'm going to share with you in a minute, and it's really going to tell a story and help you better understand what's going on. Now, the other thing that's really, this was important, I think, in 2022 with Amazon, your IPI score, right? It had to be a minimum of 400. And I know there were some booksellers that were locked down because your IPI score minimum has to be 400. And your IPI score is made up in part of your sell-through rate. And that's kind of, we're using different terms, but sort of the same thing. How much of your inventory is selling? So you don't want to get into that situation. So if you haven't been doing this before, you can look at your sell-through rate and your IPI score with Amazon to see what that is. And if you're down near 400, things are, you need to improve that right away. And even if I think 500, maybe 550, 600 or more is where you should be if you're selling used books on Amazon. So that's something that's going to be really could be detrimental, actually, because I think if you get below 400, you're suddenly cut off and can't even send any more inventory to Amazon. So you never really want to be in that situation. So that's another important reason to do it. And the other thing, I think what happens over time for me is, I've been doing this so long, You build confidence. I have a lot of confidence in the business, and part of it is I look at numbers, right? And I don't just look at my sales. I look at this every single week, so I know, and I'm very, very consistent. And if it's not consistent, something goes on, I want to look into it and see what's going on. So I have a tool that I can reference, and over time, it's going to give you confidence that things are going well. Because we get a lot of new sellers that say, "Oh, they don't really know, right? They think that maybe they're going to sell 90% of their inventory in the first week, and there's things to account for, and there's a lot of variables." So this will help you better understand the business and give you a base to start with. I did not do this from the moment I started selling, and I wish I had. I don't really know at what point I did it, but it wasn't that far in. And it's just a good tool to have in your back pocket that you can always reference. All right, so how do we calculate your inventory turnover? Now, I kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to get into a little more detail so you can do this right away. Now, we've got this tool I'm going to show you. You don't need to use this tool, but this tool is kind of cool because I'll show you. It gives you charts and other things that you might not be able to get on your own very easily. All right, so what you need to do is you start off here, and you need to first decide what is your week. What I mean by that, you're the boss to your business, and you can say, my work week is going to start, or I want to measure from a Wednesday to a Tuesday or whatever. I make it simple for myself, and I'll just do that in this video, is my work week, or my week that I want to track, begins on a Monday and it ends on a Sunday. Okay. So here's what you're going to do every Monday. If you're going to do it the way I'm suggesting, you are going to pick the week ending and you're going to populate it over here. So I guess I'll put this in. What did I do here? So I have April 28th, 2024. I'll pick the next one after that. So April, did I say April 24th? No, April 28th. So here I'll pick April. Oh, we're going to go into May. So my week ending would be on May 5th. Okay. And then when you do that, the software is going to tell you, okay, that start of your week is on 4/29 and it ends on 5/5. So the start date is on a Monday, the end date is on a Sunday. So that would be the first thing you do. Next, what you're going to do then every Monday, presumably early in your day when you get a chance, this is very simple. You go into Amazon and say, hey, what's my inventory start? Now, I've got a couple of ways to do this. I've got an Amazon link. I'm going to go into the details, but you'll just get to your inventory screen here, and you'll pop it open, and you'll look at it, and you'll say, filter it for your actives, and you can see how much inventory you have that is available for sale on that particular Monday morning. Okay, that's all you need to do. And how long would that have taken you, right? Like 2 minutes, if that. Okay, so that's all you do. Then you wait a whole week. And then after the week is over, after Sunday, so I'm not going to do it on the 5th. The 5th is a Sunday. Let's wait for the day to end. And you can do it the next day. You don't have to do it the next day. You can do it whenever, because you can get this information from Amazon anytime. You would go in and go to this report. And you can see here, by the way, we've got links. It'll take you right to where you need to go in Seller Central. And you'll look at this, and you'll filter it out so that you're only looking at, you don't want orders to be things that are removals. If you have removals, they'll show up in the orders report. So you just highlight this, and that will tell you how many books you sold for the week. Okay. And then you plug that number in here. So let me put in, this is all dummy information, by the way. So let's say I wasn't selling many books, or for whatever reason, things went down. Let's say I went down a little bit. Let's say it was 765. So on April 29th, let's say on that Monday morning, I had 765. That's all I needed to do. I waited. And then on the 6th of May, I went and said, how many books did I sell that week? And let's say I sold, it looks like I sold, well, this, of course, this is all dummy data. I'll just make something up. I'll put 81. And instantly it will tell you what your weekly turnover percentage was for that week. Okay. Now, I also put on here a couple of things, as you can see. we don't all like looking at spreadsheets. I get it, trust me. But we do like looking at stars, right? We're all accustomed to 5 stars 1 star, whatever. So I've got this turn rate score that you can just glance at. And if you see if you've got 1 or 2 stars week after week, something might be wrong. If you've got 4 or 5 stars week after week, you're probably on the right track. Now, as I showed you earlier, what we also have here is this inventory dashboard. And what this does is there's nothing for you to do other than look at it. And this is really great because it's going to, like I said, it's going to tell you a story of what's going on over time with your business. I talk to a lot of people, and one of the questions, if they say, well, things aren't selling, that's a question I'm going to ask them. And hopefully they've watched this video, or at least they're calculating it on their own. What's your weekly inventory turnover rate, right? And I can tell them, okay, and what things are you doing to maybe improve it? So this will tell you, as you can see, so in addition to that, we've got your inventory levels, right? And this is important. This gives you an idea. Is my business growing? Am I adding an inventory to Amazon? And then also, how many books did I sell? How are my book sales, right? We're all familiar with something like this anyway on Amazon, but we've got it in here easily as well. And then it'll tell you this, how many weeks you've tracked, what's your overall average, what's the average number of books you sold each week, and your average inventory, right? And these links are similar to the other one. And all this stuff is done in real time. Let me put these things next to one another. So the cool thing is, when you, and I'll actually just go ahead and delete some information out of here. You wouldn't normally be doing this, but I just want to show you that the moment I delete all these weeks, it's going to change the chart as soon as I hit delete. And there we go. So it changed down now. I've only got 20 weeks and this and that. Okay. So that's basically, you don't necessarily need this tool, but I just try to build something that just makes it easier for someone who doesn't want to build charts in Excel or whatever else you're going to do and just summarize data really easily. So you can definitely get this. This is, by the way, and there's no monthly fee for this, right? I know anytime you see a fancy chart, you think you got to pay a monthly fee. You don't. We're charging just a small amount, one-time fee. You have it for life, and something you're going to use every single week in your book business, I hope, okay? But if you are a paid Master Book Flippers customer, you actually get this for free. Okay, so let's talk about what might a good rate be for used books on Amazon selling. Now, first of all, there's no exact right answer, right? It's never going to be that way, and it's always going to be different for a seller, and of course, it's going to vary from week to week for yourself for lots of different reasons. But one thing we've heard out there, you may have heard in various groups and things, is that you should be selling about 1% of your inventory every day. Okay, so if that's the case, of course, I like to track it, and I recommend tracking it weekly, not daily, not monthly. I don't think either one of those things is the right number. Really, just do it weekly. So that would be 7%, and that's just a number that was thrown out there. And I'll give you my thoughts on that in a minute. And then also, a while back, I know Caleb Roth did a study with a lot of sellers, and the number was at 5%, the average. First of all, most of those sellers, the vast majority of them, were using scanners, right? They were not doing what we do, which is online book arbitrage. So those books generally sell slower. And I think 5% really is way, way too low. If you're at 5% all the time especially doing online book arbitrage, something is very, very wrong. It's okay to be down there at certain times a year. There's some seasonality to the books that you have, textbooks, season, how many textbooks you have, things like that. So that might be considered on the low end. But I would say if you're doing something like this and you are below 5% week in and week out, something is wrong. Okay. And I'm going to talk about ways you can improve it in a minute. Now, the other big variable is the books that you have in stock and the time of year. So I've been all the way up to 30% of my inventory sold in 1 week during textbook season. Okay. And so depending on how many textbooks you have, you might be even higher than that. I don't know, or you'll be lower than that, right? So it does vary quite a bit. But I don't want you to think you can come into this business that you're going to sell 70% of your inventory a week. It's probably not going to happen. And if you do figure out a way to do that, please let me know, okay? But that's typically not going to happen. So it's going to range anywhere there. I like to be in the double digits, above 10% every single week. So lastly, let me give you a couple of tips to improve your weekly turnover rate. So the very first thing you can do is use a repricer, okay? That is going to help drive sales, and that is going to improve your weekly inventory turnover percentage. Those that start using Repricer are like, oh, they're excited because they see sales are increasing, but do they really know precisely what their turnover rate was? Hopefully they do, and then you can see it exactly. And that happened to me when I started this business. I wasn't initially repricing, and all of a sudden I saw my turnover rate improve quite a bit when I started using a repricer. All right, so that's number one, use a repricer. Number two is lower the price of your books, or some of them, right? The ones that are not selling quickly, you might have to lower them, right? So that kind of goes hand in hand with a repricer, but not always. Pretty much all the repricers, you can raise your prices if you want. So those two things kind of go in hand, but not always. So that's something else. Just consider that, lowering it. And number three, now this one will have a decent impact, and this one's probably more for those that are doing the local sourcing. You're buying cheap books that have, they're okay. I'm going to make a 200% ROI, but really you're making about $3 in profit, or you wanted to make $3 in profit, and then for whatever reason the book stopped selling, or you got more competition, and you realize that the thing is a complete dud. It's sitting in Amazon's warehouse. You're paying inventory storage fees. If you got a bad book in there, it's just never going to sell. Get rid of it, remove it, take a tax write-off, sell it somewhere else on eBay, whatever. You donate it to a library, do something with it. And the moment you do that, you start to drop your inventory, and then that ratio starts to play in your favor, because now you've got less books that are not selling in Amazon's warehouse, and presumably the books that you have there or you're sending in are selling more quickly, and you'll watch your ratio go up. Okay. All right. And so that's number three. And I guess the last one is if your things are really, I don't want you to give up on selling used books, but if you've been doing nothing but sourcing your books, at library sales and whatever else, you may consider just changing, right? Consider doing online book arbitrage. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. And I don't worry about my IPI score with Amazon. I don't worry about having a bad inventory turnover percentage. Things are very, very consistent. All right, so don't forget, if you're interested in getting access to the inventory tracker shown in this video, you can check out the link in the description below for more details. Thank you for your time and watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you found the video helpful and would like to learn more about selling used books on Amazon.